So AI is changing this world in a kind of a scary way. It's honestly pretty crazy what we can do with AI. But for podcasters, it's actually really freaking great. And today I'm going to show you 2 AI softwares that I'm using to help me grow my podcast, research my podcast, and ultimately make my entire podcast workflow and video production flow way, way easier. So let's check it out. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to the channel. If you don't know who I am, my name is Luis Ryan Diaz. I run a company called Top 10 Podcasts. We've grown over 160, 170 podcasts, and we've generated over 15 or 16 million downloads. So my goal in this episode today, though, is to show you 2 AI softwares that I'm using to plan my content, research my content, come up with ideas, come up with titles, generate descriptions, generate show notes, generate the right hashtags, and even write my show notes and do a lot of the thinking for me. And this video is going to be super helpful for you, even if you don't have a podcast yet. So maybe you're looking to launch a podcast and you haven't done so yet, or maybe you're doing a podcast right now and you're like, how do I make my titles better, my content better? How do I use AI to really help me improve the quality of my show? So that's what I've been nerding out and geeking out on the last couple of months. And I'm going to show you the 2 tools I'm using right now that I'm really, really enjoying. All right, so the 2 softwares I'm going to show are probably ones you've already known, or probably ones you've heard of before, but maybe you're not using them, or maybe you're not leveraging them as much as you should. So the 2 softwares I'm referring to are, number 1, ChatGPT and VidIQ. Let's start with VidIQ first. So VidIQ, for me, when I started to launch this YouTube channel and I said, okay, I want to start to really get serious about my YouTube videos, my video podcasting setup, and everything else around YouTube, I looked for tools naturally. And the 2 tools for me that came up the most, which another one I'll talk about in another video, were number 1, VidIQ, which we're talking about today, and the other one is Morning Fame. But for me, VidIQ has been a really big game changer. And mainly, I'll show you guys how I'm using it. So if we scroll here, you can see I'm actually using it to auto-generate my descriptions for my shorts, and also optimize my titles, as well as pick the best hashtags and the best tags to put into my videos. Now, there's tons of other things you can do with VidIQ. However, for me, that's what I'm using, and I'm finding the most value for that in this phase, especially when it comes to kind of like when we've produced the content, edited the content, and now we're in a phase where we need to get it onto YouTube and everywhere else. I'm using this tool to really optimize my titles, optimize my descriptions, optimize all of the tags I'm picking. And I think it can even do thumbnails too, where it can kind of tell you what's the best thumbnail as well. But also there's other software out there for that. Really, really cool tool for this reason. Now, besides just kind of optimizing what I already have, VidIQ also can help you come up with ideas, which is something I really, really love when it comes to me just being lazy and I don't want to go and find more content. I don't want to have to go and think of more content. I can just go into VidIQ and I can search for podcasting tips, and it can generate for me 5 to 10 new different ideas for content around podcasting tips, or podcasting tips for beginners, or podcast monetization tips. Whatever I type in, it can auto-generate some really good titles for my next videos. Those are the ways I'm using VidIQ. Very, very powerful tool. I suggest you check it out if you haven't already. And one quick note, besides what I just already mentioned about VidIQ, it can also tell you things like the best time of day to post based on your audience. And it can also give you some really cool data on your active subscribers, so you can start to create content that's better for them and also know when they're online or when is best for you to actually post your content. Now, the second tool is one that is freakishly good. Now, I have heard some people say there are some quirks with it. They're still working out some of the kinks, but overall, ChatGPT is pretty damn good. Now, instead of me figuring out ways to actually show you how I'm using ChatGPT, which I'll share here in a second, I figured it'd be pretty cool to actually tell you what ChatGPT told me when I asked, how can you help podcasters grow their podcasts? Here's exactly what ChatGPT told me. So as you can see on the screen here, ChatGPT basically told me, give me the 3 ways it can potentially help podcasters grow, which I think is pretty freaking cool. So number 1, It talks about content generation, kind of like what we use VidIQ for. It can also generate titles, topics, and like it says, even entire scripts, which is pretty freaking cool. Now, none of these scripts are going to be perfect. You're going to have to go in, you're going to have to edit a little bit, add your own personality, add your own spin to things, but it can get there. It can get you 80% of the way done, which is going to save you a ton of time. Number 2, automation of tasks. So this is something I have not experimented with, guys, but so just keep this in mind. But I'm really keen on trying to do this. So ChatGPT could actually be used to automate tasks like creating show notes, which for a lot of us is going to create a lot of time. Now, I did a separate video a little while ago on some of the best tools or AI tools for podcasters. And in that video, I actually recommended 2 AI tools that did show notes. One was capshow.com and the other was melville.app, which is a really good one as well. However, if ChatGPT could actually write your show notes for you and it can do it for free, then it's going to be really hard to justify why you should use those other tools, right? So you could always use ChatGPT for that. I think the only hiccup here is that you need to give it a transcription, right? So you have to go to like otter.ai or rev.com and you have to go and pay for a transcription to then go and feed into ChatGPT. Now, I know there's some other ways you could get around paying for transcripts, which I know there's a lot of videos on that. So go ahead and use that if you want, but it's pretty cool that you could actually use ChatGPT to create some show notes, which I think is pretty awesome. So that's number 2. And then number 3, the third thing that ChatGPT told me was you can improve searchability. So it can be used to generate accurate, well-written show notes, which is kind of like a repeat of the second one, and episode descriptions, which can improve the searchability of your podcast. Pretty cool stuff. That's what ChatGPT did for me, or that's what ChatGPT told me. How I actually use ChatGPT for podcasts, not only for my own show, but for our client shows and things like that, is we actually have our team using it to create intro scripts, outro scripts. We have our team use it to create podcast descriptions. And what I do is I feed in the details. Like I'll say, hey, ChatGPT, can you create an episode description for a podcast about how to get on other podcasts and also make money by selling your courses and products on someone else's podcast? I can punch that into ChatGPT and it can come up with an episode description that I can then copy and paste it or tweak that and put that into YouTube or even use that as show notes if I wanted to, right? Very, very powerful. ChatGPT is only going to get better. And I think if you're a podcaster, this is how you can leverage it. You can use it to do the heavy lifting for research. You can use it to even create show notes, and you can use it for episode descriptions or title names and title suggestions as well. So that's pretty much it for this episode. Those are the 2 AI tools I'm using right now. I would say both are very much worth it. I pay for I think the middle tier, the VidIQ subscription, and it is well worth the money. So guys, there'll be a link in the show notes below. There'll be a link in the chat below or description below if you want to check that tool out. It'll likely be an affiliate link, so I will make a little bit of money off of it if you decide to click that. Use it if you like, totally cool if not. But these tools are really helping us, not only my team of 40 people, but myself and my personal brand team that are working on my podcast are also really benefiting from these tools. So I'll see you later. If you enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already on YouTube, please subscribe. The goal, which I stated in an earlier email this year, was to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. So I would love you if you would help me with that goal. Now, if you're on the podcast feed, the audio version, I'd love you still. Check out YouTube. I'm serious. Go check it out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I would love that as well. So see you later. If you have questions, let me know in the comments, in the description, and I will chat later. Bye for now.